Hello everybody, and this is Degu, and today I am going to be taking you through the portrait creation process from start to finish. Uh, what you do is you start with your unspecified portrait. So prior to making your portrait, you will have made your butler art, ideally. And what you do to start your process is you copy your butler and you shrink it down into, what have I used here? Canvas size. So here I'm in 500 by 500 pixels. Now shrunk my portrait down into this box. And that's that. You have your unspecified portrait ready for further shrinkage later. But what you do here is you figure out the size of the lines. I mean, here I've already figured it out, and it's about 4 point, as you can see here. And the reason we do this is so that when you start lining your other portraits, you match your original in the line weight. So we're going to start with our male portrait. I've already done the sketch, but obviously you start by sketching your male and your female. And yes, I already started this because I have no self-control. But here we go. We start lining it in the weight that we have already decided is what will match our original. And yes. Okay, so that's the lines done. Once you have your lines done, you are going to want to go back to the unspecified portrait and colour pick one of the darker colours as your base. And then turn off your sketch and create a layer underneath the line art. We'll fill that in. Select transparency strict. Doesn't matter whether you've got anti-aliasing on or not, because you refine the portrait later once you've shrunk it down. See, all this doesn't matter a whole lot because you refine later on in the final stage. But I'm a perfectionist, so I'm doing a bit of it anyway. There we go, that'll do. Just for the sake of cleanliness, go to selection and increment and delete that. Okay, lock the layer with preserve opacity, and now you're ready to start shading. Let me save it. You go back to your original again, and you pick one of the palest colours, turn it off, go back, and you're ready to start shading. You're gonna want to keep checking back to try and see that. Oh, I've missed a bit. You're gonna want to keep checking back to see that it is matching your original. But as long as it's in the general same ballpark, you are alright. And also don't forget the power of contrast and tweaking at the end. I always have to go for a contrast tweak at the end because I shade quite softly at first, and then I'll make it a bit harsher with the use of contrast tweaking. Okay, so the shading process begins. Okay, so what you're going to need to do then is open it in Photoshop. See here we've got the male portrait that we did in Psy. I use Psy because it's, for me, better for painting, and the line art is considerably harder than Photoshop seems to manage, as you'll see here. Okay, so we're opening Photoshop. What you're going to want to do is create a new file at 95 by 95, which is our dimensions for portraits, as you probably well know. Okay, we merge visible, we grab our portrait, copy it in, and shrink it down. Oh, we better change this. Up here, you're going to have interpolation, and you're going to want to change that to bicubic sharper before you shrink down. So I've changed that to bicubic sharper, and we get down here. We've got our portrait. We're going to want to copy this repeatedly. Then you can select 4 at a time and then just keep copying it and creating duplicates until everything's solid. Then you merge visible, zoom out, have a look at it at 100%. Okay, now we're going to want to do the same with our unspecified. Excuse-moi. Shrink your unspecified down on top of that, because then you're going to be able to compare them. Again, they don't have to be perfectly matching in shading as long as they're very close. Shrink him to here. Repeat the step from before. Copy, 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 copy until the lines on the outside are mostly solid. You don't want transparent pixels on the outside. Merge visible. And now you zoom out to 100%. That's your unspecified. Okay, so what I first notice here is that the male here is paler. So I'm going to fix that with a bit of a burn tool. Probably, no, no. Gonna soften highlights a bit. There we go. Making it a bit darker with the burn tool on the highlight setting. We don't want that 100%. This is about 40% exposure. Now that's a bit better. But we have gone a bit too dark on the cheek. So bring the cheek up a bit. Let's lower the exposure to 29 there. Zoom back out. There we go. Still a bit of tweaking we could be doing here. Under the eyes was a bit darker. Don't overthink it though, just get it in the general ballpark. Why can't it zoom in? Come on. There we go. Photoshop was having a bit of a balmy there. Okay. Sharpen it. You go to smart sharpen so you don't overdo your sharpening. See, that's a whole lot better, but a bit too harsh. There we go. That'll do. Zoom back out. Compare. We've got to sharpen this as well. Same amount. See, the male was a bit fluffier, but that was intentional. Want him to have a roguish look. But match the darkness on the neck here. There we go. That's 2 portraits. There we go. Okay, now, after I've saved it, save as Cheaton Ports Small. I'm going to zoom in here, and the next thing we need to do is we need to clean this up, because as you'll notice, the lines around the eyes, they're not even black. They should be 100% black. The edges, they've got transparent pixels. We have a lot of problems here, but they're going to be easy to fix, and I'll show you how. So what I do is quite a simple step. Create a new layer, nothing on it. Get your pencil tool. You get a bright color. Ooh, we are not in colored mode. Image mode, make sure you're in color. Mode, RGB. There we go. Don't know why it did that. Okay, you start a new layer and you just start going over it. Like so. In fact, I'll start with the eyes. Here we go. You need this to be black because the eye remaps will change all 100% black lines to appear black on the portrait itself. And also you need 100% white for the highlights. Okay, so that's your outlines done. What you want to do then is select outside. Oh, you need to swap to contiguous for that. Select outside your neon green outlines. Ooh, I got a bit of the outline there. Select all the outside bits. And then Control and X. And you've gotten rid of all your transparent bits, your outside bits, your unwanted bits. Okay, following that, you're going to want to lock your outline layer. 100% black on the on the pencil, and fill it in. And you zoom out, and you got your portrait. However, you're going to want to make a copy of that outline layer for later and fill in. You're going to want to merge visible again and remember to keep a copy of your outline layer. Merge visible, and yes. Okay, so you want to start a new Fox file and make sure it's a portrait set. And what you do is you copy in your portrait. This is the male portrait, so it'll go here. Copy it in. And then you want to go back to Photoshop. Once you come back to Photoshop, you will, if I could unselect this, you will want to bring up your outline layer again, make a copy of your base layer, lock the layer, fill it in, nice and easy, and then you want to select your outlines on the other layer above it. Select these, make sure it selects all of it, turn them off, go back down, and delete. And see, what you have here is a very easy way of doing your markings. I'll show you how when I go back to Fox Editor. Okay, then you bring your markings over here to Fox Editor and you paste them in. If you turn off the remaps layer, you'll see that that has left our hard black lines that we did earlier completely exposed. You don't need all of these exposed, you can get rid of some of these. And this is the accent out remap. You can easily guess this in Photoshop and it'll translate when you paste it in just by picking a pale teal in the same sort of range. So yeah, you can get rid of all the extra little dinky bits you don't need. You don't need all these inside lines here. You can leave a bit of the jaw going because that's a nice definition to have. And you can leave... No, you can get rid of the nose, I think. Let's have a look. View the remaps. View dye recolors to get a good idea of how it looks with the shading on. This looks good. You probably can't see, but it looks good. Okay, so there you have your main outline of basically where you want to put your remaps. Okay, so you're going to want to open your Cheaton, well, your Butler rather, in another window so you can basically figure out where your remaps are going to need to go. So that's what I've done. I've got the Butler open in Photoshop, and to start we'll change this accent to a base fur colour. And we'll turn the remaps on, and we get started really. Okay, so once you've done all that, you're going to want to do your mid tones, the fades. You can look at your avatar or your or your butler for this and see how it compares. And I know for the cheeks here we have... Oh, I did it that way, did I? Okay then. So let's just do all of this colour and then go up. And there you go. The last thing you're going to want to do... Ooh, missing a bit there. Last thing you're going to want to do is make sure your eye whites are pure white. Not all of it, just at least one pixel in the center. You go to grey matters here in the palette selection and get the highest white. Just go over the highest white here and just make sure it's white. And that will show up as pure white on the actual eyes here. And there you go. You have your finished portrait minus a background. And that is the portrait process. I hope that was helpful. Thank you for watching.